From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at Noon, streaming now.
And thanks for joining us here on the News at Noon on this Tuesday. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen is standing by from his home this midday. Todd, we got to take a look at today's forecast. It is January and it is cold.
Yeah, it is chilly, Lauren. It could be worse, though. We set
right.
the all-time record low temperature on this date back in 1994. We'll talk more about that in Maine weather, but at least the sun is shining. And as I say, the sunshine, that always helps everything here across central Indiana. And here's a live look in Bloomington, and you can see that there is not a cloud in the sky right now. How about that across Monroe County? That's the case in most locations here in central Indiana at this noon hour. Temperatures range from 27 in Peru to 33 in Indianapolis. 35 to 36 degrees, Bloomington over to the Columbus area. Factor in the wind, and there's some minor wind chills, but that's a pretty big difference from yesterday compared to today. Yesterday we had quite a bit of wind out there. Today there's not much wind at all, so that is a good news. Now you can see the sunshine that we're enjoying. You will notice the clouds start to build in a little bit from north to south here throughout the afternoon hours ahead of our next weather maker, which is a quick little moving system that'll bring some light snow showers. You see it near Minneapolis. That'll slide in here tonight, most likely after sunset, and that'll bring some snow showers back into the forecast. But until then, we'll enjoy just partly to mostly cloudy skies. Eventually, temperatures going up another couple degrees for your afternoon highs. The snow showers shouldn't do a whole lot later on this evening, but we'll talk about them in more detail coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you. New this midday, a man who was shot on the south side of Indianapolis over the weekend has died from his injuries. Metro Police say the man was shot Sunday evening at a home on South Meridian Street, just south of West Meridian School Road. The man was taken to the hospital, but police say he died last night. The victim's name has not been released, and police say they are still looking for a suspect. And 2021 is off to a deadly start here in Indianapolis. The pace of homicides is close to the record year of 2020. Today, Mayor Joe Hogsett, Metro Police, and others talked about their plans to combat violent crime this coming year. The mayor blamed the pandemic in part, saying most large cities saw an increase in violent crime, even as other crime numbers fell. IMPD says part of its plan is to hire civilians to help with some of the tasks that are taking officers off the streets too much.
We respond to a lot of issues related to, things that really don't meet the level of where we should be sending our officers, therefore taking them out of the beats and out of the areas where they should be present and dealing proactively with some of the violent crime.
Our own Stephanie Wade is going to have much more on the city's plans to combat violent crime tonight. Just look for her story on the news at 5 and 6 o'clock. It is back to the classroom today for thousands of students at Indianapolis public schools. Today is the first day that IPS is phasing students back to in-person learning after weeks of 100% remote learning due to the pandemic. Students in pre-K through third grade return to the classroom today. The rest of the school district students will be brought back to the school buildings or moved into a hybrid schedule by the end of this month. Moving to Fisher, students there in Hamilton Southeastern schools are back in the classroom as well. Starting today, all of the district students in pre-K through 6th grade are back to in-person learning. Students in grades 7 through 12 will be on a hybrid model. Hamilton Southeastern will have e-learning days for all students every Friday. The latest COVID-19 numbers from the state show new cases holding steady, but a dramatic rise in the newly reported deaths. More than 2,700 new cases were reported today by the state health department, but newly reported deaths of people with the virus jumped up to 126. That pushes Indiana past 9,000 COVID-19 deaths or COVID-19 related deaths since the pandemic began. And Governor Holcomb is expected to talk about the state's continued pandemic response during his State of the State address set for tonight. Instead of speaking to a crowded state house, this speech will be given virtually because of the pandemic. The governor is also expected to outline his legislative agenda for the year. You can watch the speech live right here on WRTV, on the WRTV News app, and on our WRTV Facebook page. It all starts at 7 o'clock tonight. And a reminder, the Indiana State House complex does remain closed to the public today and tomorrow. The governor's office says this is being done out of an abundance of caution in response to any possible protests related to the presidential inauguration. State legislative meetings are also canceled for this week. The FBI says that the Bureau has not received any specific threats here in Indiana related to any of our government buildings. And new this midday, Metro Police are investigating a threat that was made towards the Indianapolis headquarters of the Indiana Democratic Party. The The nature of the threat was not disclosed. This follows a shooting incident we told you about that took place at the headquarters of the Tippecanoe County Democratic Party. That shooting happened back on January 6th, the same day of the deadly riots at the U.S. Capitol in Washington. The state Democratic Party declined comment on the threat except to issue a statement from Chairman John Zodi. He says, quote, Democratic Party has been steadfast in its call for local and state leaders to condemn any violence against our communities, end quote. Zodi also goes on to say Hoosiers should stay vigilant and report any suspicious activity to law enforcement immediately. And of course, security is especially tight in the nation's capital ahead of the inauguration of Joe Biden less than 24 hours from now. Washington, D.C. is virtually on lockdown as authorities take all the precautions to protect the next president and incoming Vice President Kamala Harris. ABC's Alex Perche has the very latest.
Right now, Joe Biden is preparing to leave his home state of Delaware for the last time as president-elect. By this evening, he and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will be in Washington, in place to begin the most unusual transfer of power in modern American history. This was the National Mall overnight. 56 light pillars for the 50 states and 6 U.S. territories. Nearly 200,000 U.S. flags, representing Americans not able to travel to the inauguration because of the pandemic. Then there's President Trump, who hasn't been seen publicly in a week. Both he and First Lady Melania are skipping the swearing-in altogether, though Trump's holding his own send-off at Joint Base Andrews. Neither of them have invited the Bidens to the White House before inauguration, a courtesy extended to the Trumps from the Obamas. And, of course, there's security. While federal law enforcement continues to round up those involved in the insurrection on January 6th, they're also on high alert for potential new domestic terror plots tomorrow. All major bridges entering D.C. shut down this morning. 21,500 armed National Guard now on duty. Barricades and checkpoints everywhere. Helicopters in the skies and police boats in the Potomac River.
Now is not the time to come into our jurisdiction to create havoc.
ABC News has obtained a new law enforcement bulletin raising concerns that right-wing extremists like QAnon and lone wolf attackers might try to pose as law enforcement and military to infiltrate security. One member of Congress describing what security officials have told him.
We've been briefed on very specific threats to members of Congress, different militia groups that are organizing and trying to upset the festivities. They come from domestic terrorist groups, all on the right, all supporters of Donald Trump.
ABC News has learned that Joe Biden will go to church tomorrow, and in a show of unity, he's invited congressional leaders from both parties to join him. They've all accepted. Afterwards, they'll be right here at the Capitol. Alex Perche, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And a reminder, we'll have live coverage of the events surrounding the inauguration and, of course, the swearing in of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's all happening tomorrow right here on WRTV. Well, it is taking a little bit longer this year, but they hope that it will help more people. Next, the reason why local officials are taking their time to find everyone who's struggling to find a place to live. Todd?
And Lauren, the sun is shining here at the noon hour all across central Indiana. It's going to change a little bit as we go throughout the afternoon. And then this evening, some more snow showers head our way. But once we get past these snow showers that you see to our northwest, a pretty decent forecast to round out the work week. We'll talk all about it coming up when the News at Noon continues right here on WRTV.
February 26th on ABC.
Welcome back. So here in Marion County, the annual point-in-time homeless count continues this week. The count actually documents how many people stay in shelters, transitional housing, or on the city streets on a single given night. Well, it helps determine resources and funding for the people experiencing homelessness. Service providers, lawmakers, and others also use this count to understand the root causes of homelessness and how to solve those issues. Lyndon Jackman tells us that he ended up at Wheeler Mission after the friend he was staying with moved.
I was staying in a tent. Thank God for the Homeless Initiative program. There's been a lot shut down and there's really nowhere to go.
It's really important because it helps us with planning, solutions and interventions and figuring out how to best target resources. So it is an important count, but I also want to reiterate, it's just one source of data. We are looking at data all year long with our partner agencies to really understand how homelessness is changing.
Well, the Coalition for Homelessness Intervention and Prevention conducts the count. The count usually takes place all in one night, but this year it's being done over 5 days because of the pandemic safety changes. A full report on the findings will be released in the spring. Well, the eyes of the world have mostly been on screens for the past year. Next, we'll show you how that's causing doctors to see more vision problems, especially among school students who are learning virtually. And let's take a live look outside. Todd, tell us you can see the sunshine, and here it is across the Circle City. We'll get his full breakdown and your forecast for the week ahead. That's all coming up right here on the News at Noon. Stay with us.
$1 drain cleaning special.
Welcome back. So eye doctors are seeing more school-aged kids dealing with nearsightedness. It's especially been a problem with children spending hours on their devices during the e-learning that's necessitated by the pandemic. Our own Kelsey Anderson has more on what you can do to protect your child's eyesight.
Between cell phones, video games, iPads, and now virtual learning, experts say that children have the visual jobs of computer programmers and are now seeing the need for glasses a lot sooner. Dr. Catherine Schutz has been an optometrist for 21 years. She specializes in pediatric eye care. She says for the last several years, they have been dealing with the pandemic all their own. Children have been needing glasses at a higher rate over the last several years, mainly due to screen time. And now with virtual learning, it's increasing even more. But she says there are 2 things you can do to help strengthen your child's eyesight.
If kids are outdoors 2 hours a day, it prevents the genetic component of 2 nearsighted parents. So we know that kids who have 2 parents who, are wearing glasses for nearsightedness, they have like a 70% chance of becoming nearsighted. But if they're outdoors, you can lower that to almost nothing, which is impressive. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is just taking breaks. And so our rule is the 20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for a minute or 2. That's ideal. It's not an easy habit to get into, but it is very, very helpful in terms of reducing strain and just really flexing the visual system so that it's not looking, a screen right in front of you all day, every day.
She says she recommends parents bring their kids in for a baseline eye exam by age 5. Now, as far as blue light blocker glasses go, Dr. Schutz says she does recommend them to protect the eye, almost like a sunscreen, and to level out those melatonin levels. But she does say that these will not help in the progression of a child's eyesight. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Dateline, The Muppet Show. An embarrassing situation developed today when the Muppet News reporter accidentally went on camera forgetting to put on his pants. Oh, good grief.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights because the silly jokes, the special guest stars, and Pigs in Space, it's all coming back soon. Today, Disney announced that the original Muppet Show would begin streaming on Disney Plus starting on February 19th. The Muppet Show ran for 5 seasons in the late 1970s and early 80s. Disney Plus will stream all 120 episodes featuring celebrity guest stars like Steve Martin, Elton John, Alice Cooper, Diana Ross, and just about every other big star of the era. Looking forward to that, Todd. All right, as we're talking about the forecast here on this Tuesday, we see the sun is out. It looks pretty good this midday. What else can we expect this afternoon?
Yeah, the sun is shining here. We have one little speed bump, so to speak, to get through later on this evening, Lloyd, with some snow showers moving through. Then the rest of the week is actually pretty quiet. I think we can kind of tuck those snow showers away, which we've had in the forecast since last Friday. But how about this? We talked about it briefly earlier. On this day in 1994, we set the all-time record low temperature for the city of Indianapolis as it got down to minus 27 degrees. That wasn't quite the coldest temperature statewide. That same morning, just outside New Whiteland, I got down to minus 36 degrees. So, oh boy, I can't even imagine what it was like back then. I was just a little pup back in New Jersey still when we hit that temperature. Actually, I was in high school. I wasn't so much a little pup. But nonetheless, really, really cold. As far as what's happening right now, here's a live look in Bloomington, and you can see that there's hardly a cloud in the sky. As you look off in the distance, you see a few fair weather clouds, and that is just about it. And temperatures right now are sitting in the 20s, 30s, and one lone 40 down there in the Bedford area, 35 in Bloomington, 33 in Martinsville, as well as Indy. 31 in Muncie, 29 is the current temperature up in the Peru area. Not much in the way of wind here today. That is the good news. But the temperatures you saw there are only going to go up about another 2 to 3 degrees for your afternoon high. That's about all we can do as far as those high temperatures with that mixture of sun and clouds. And then you see that snow in the forecast late. The clouds are starting to increase a little bit to the north already. But it's not a big system that's heading our way. You see it here in Wisconsin. It's a quick little clipper system, moves through very quick, doesn't have a whole lot of moisture with it. So it's not going to put down any hefty snowfall totals. And if you do have plans this evening, I think you're in decent shape, at least in the metro area, through much of the evening with temperatures right around freezing. Once we get past sunset, first in northern locations, and then eventually towards the metro area, we'll start to bring in some of these snow showers. The biggest issue I think we'll face with these snow showers is going to be reduced visibility. That will change very quickly if you are going to be on the interstates, especially watch out at those higher rates of speed. And then the snow showers will basically be gone by tomorrow morning's commute, which will be good news. As far as potential snowfall totals, just a couple hundredths of an inch. That's all we're going to see out of this. Maybe the further north you go, a little closer to the lake, you could see up to an inch of snowfall. But once we get past that tomorrow, we are looking at skies that'll be partly cloudy, 33 for your Wednesday. Thursday is the warmest day of the week, up to 42, and then a little cooler but dry for most of the weekend. Sunday night into Monday, Lauren, that'll be our next storm system. We'll have to kind of fine tune as we get a little bit closer. Right now, it looks like it can go either way, a wintry mix or a little bit of snow across the area.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. So when it is cold outside, we're just around the corner from spring cleaning season, that is. And Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau says there's the type of scammer that you need to watch out for if you decide to sell some of the old stuff that you have lying around.
It's the first of the year, and a lot of us are cleaning out old things, kind of getting our house in order. And a lot of people are putting items online for sale. Here's the scam that you need to watch out for. If someone contacts you and offers overpayment for what it is, let's say you're selling some clothes or an electronic item, something like that, be on the lookout. So here's how this scam works. First off, you think, man, I've got a great buyer here. They're going to give me more than what I am actually asking for. You'll get a check or some sort of payment for them that'll actually be over what they originally quoted you. Then they'll say, gee, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to give you all that money. Can you just send me the difference back? Well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to send them the item. You're going to send them the difference in the payment, and then you're going to find out that that payment that they sent you, that check that they sent you originally, isn't any good. It's going to bounce. The payment isn't going to be any good. So watch out for that scam. If someone offers you more than what you are originally asking for, I'd be very, very careful about entering that transaction. It's probably a scam.
All right, Tim, thank you so much. You can find out more about this scam and others at the Better Business Bureau's website. Just go to bbb.org. And when we come back here, it's our time for the Pet of the Week. So we want to introduce you to this guy. I want you to meet Dozer. We'll tell you a little bit more about Dozer, this sweet senior pup, coming up right here on the News at Noon. Stay with us.
Keller and Keller.
Tuesday is the day we like to find you a home for our Pet of the Week. And today we want you to see if you can take this guy home. Take a look. This is Dozer. Indy Humane says Dozer is a sweet 15-year-old dog looking for a home where he will be completely spoiled. He deserves it, after all. He's older, but he would benefit from some short daily walks or a nice yard to explore. Rumor has it he likes nice fluffy dog beds to relax in while dozing off during the day. He is house trained, he plays well with other dogs, and he loves to go for walks on the leash. So if you want to make this good boy part of your family, you can make an appointment to meet him by going to indyhumane.org. Oh, Todd, got a sweet spot for senior doggies, so hopefully Dozer can find a great home. Maybe he can go on some nice walks, especially when the weather starts to warm up.
Yeah, he looks like a cutie, just ready to find that forever home, that's for sure, Lauren. And it's a good day, as you mentioned. He's got to bundle up. He was all ready with his jacket on there, ready to go out for that walk. Temperatures in the mid-30s here with skies that'll be partly cloudy this afternoon. Some snow showers this evening and overnight. Minor accumulations possible. Then the rest of the week, partly cloudy. A little warmer on Thursday, up to 42 degrees. Colder again for the weekend with a storm system Sunday night into Monday that could bring us a wintry mix.
All right, Todd, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us and making WRTV your choice for news. Come back here and join us for the news at 5. Have a great day.